Hello students. Uh, in the previous lecture we have discussed about the hydrates and the classification of the hydrates. Okay, and now in the today's lecture we are going to start a new topic, that is the water. You know, well known, it's the water. Okay, so first you see that the water is a major part of all living organisms. You know this is, and human body generally it has about the 65 percentage of water, and some plants have as much as 95 percentage of the water. Okay, so with this you can understand that the water can play a vital role in the living organisms. Okay, now we can see some physical properties of water. Generally the water, you know that it's a colorless, odorless, tasteless liquid. Okay, and it has abnormally high boiling points, freezing points, and heat of vaporization due to hydrogen bonding than the H2S and H2SE, hydrogen sulfide and hydrogen selenium. Okay, so why it has a high boiling points is that because of the hydrogen bonding that I explained in the last class. Okay, right. Now the water is a highly polar solvent with high dielectric constant. Okay, you know that what is the dielectric constant, you learned in the physics. So generally the molecule, whatever the solvents, whatever the compound with the high dielectric constant has a high polar nature. Okay, so that water is a highly polar solvent. Okay, and that is the reason why it can interact with the polar as well as the ionic substances. Okay, you know that if it is a polar, obviously it can interact with the polar substances, and ionic because ionic compounds also polar. Example, sodium chloride, sodium plus Cl minus, it is a polar. Okay, though that it can effectively interact with the polar as well as the ionic substances. Okay, with the release of considerable amount of energy. You know that while interacting means the interaction means they are combining means they are forming some kind of attractions. అవునా కదా? So when you develop new kind of attractions, it releases the energy, so that it is nothing but while interacting together it releases the considerable amount of energy. Okay, right. Next, the dissolution of covalent compounds like urea, glucose, and ethanol is due to the tendency of those molecules to form the hydrogen bond with the water. Nothing is there here. So why that covalent compounds like urea, glucose, and ethanol is dissolving in the water is that because of the hydrogen bonding with the water. Because of the hydrogen bonding with the water. Okay, the water can develop the hydrogen bonding with the ethanol as well as the glucose as well as the urea. That is the reason why even though those are covalent molecule, they can dissolve into the water. Okay, next we can see the structure of the water, and again the structure of the water is different in the pure water, and it is different in the ice. Okay, so now we can see the structure of the water in pure water. Okay, so that is in the right. Sorry, here we are not talking about the uh, pure liquid state. Here we are talking about the structure of water in the gaseous state. Not in the liquid state, sorry. And in a gaseous phase, the water is in a bent molecule. You know that V shape, you learned in the 10th class also. It is a type of bent molecule with the bond angle of 104.5 degrees centigrade with the hybridization of sp3 hybridization. You know that, and it has a OH bond length of 95.7 picometers. Okay, and it is a highly polar molecule. Why that polarity develops? Because of the difference in the electronegativity between the oxygen and hydrogen. You know that there is a electronegativity difference between the oxygen and hydrogen, so that it develops some polarity between the oxygen and hydrogen, so that here it develops partial negative charge and here it is developed partial positive charge. Okay, and what is the hybridization here? sp3 hybridization, and it forms a hydrogen bond in the liquid state, not in the gases, not in the gaseous state. Okay. And next we are going to talk about the ice. Forget about the liquid. Okay, that is not there in our syllabus, and go with the ice. Okay, you know that the ice generally it will be available in the crystalline form. Crystalline form of water is nothing but a ice. Okay, so at atmospheric pressure generally the ice crystallizes in the hexagonal form, but at very low temperature it will condenses to the cubic form. Okay, just very simple. Hexagonal, you know that hexa, 1 2 3 4 5 6, it is the structure of hexagonal, right? Okay, like this. So this kind of interactions, these hexagonal interactions, so this will arrange like this structure, hexagonal structure at normal temperature, normal low temperatures. But when you again condense it, go with the very low temperature, so it will take the cubic structure. Generally this cubic structured ice is more harder than these hexagonal structures. Okay, right. Density of ice, you know that it is less than that of the water, therefore the ice cubes floats on the water, and because of that reason, sorry, not that reason, you know that when in the winter season, when ice formed on the surface of the lake, because why on the surface is that the whatever the formed ice which is lighter in the side, so that it can float on the water, and slowly it forms a kind of layer. Okay, and that layer is a poorly poorly, it has a very poor conductivity, it has a very poor thermal conductivity. Thermal conductivity means it cannot pass any heat from cooler side to the hotter side, or from the hotter side to the cooler side. Okay, so that means you can say it is a insulator. Okay, so hot and cool, so this ice is a very, it is not a good conductor, it is not a good conductor of heat, so that whatever the cool cannot come out here, and whatever the hot will not go to the outside. Okay, so if this is the lake, so whatever that ice will be there on the above, and it is a cool area, and the downside generally the water will become very hot. Okay, and this, because of this hotness, it is very good to live the aquatic life, like fishes and all the things. Okay, so the generally fishes and all these things, they cannot live in the very cold conditions, right? Okay, but still in the cold countries they can survive in the water because of the formation of the ice layer on the surface of the water. Okay, next come to the structure of the ice. What is the structure of the ice? Generally in the gaseous state it is in the bent state. Okay, but now come to the ice, it has a highly ordered three-dimensional hydrogen bonded structure. Okay, it has a three-dimensional structure, not a two-dimensional also. Okay, it has a very three-dimensional structures, and when they examine the ice crystals with the X-ray, shows that each oxygen atom is surrounded tetrahedrally by 4 oxygen atom at a distance of 276 picometers. Okay, that means every oxygen of the water is tetrahedrally surrounded by the 4 oxygens, like this. Sir, what about the hydrogens? It is there, this is the hydrogen, and it forms some kind of hydrogen bonding with here, and this is the hydrogen, it can form some kind of hydrogen bonding here, and its hydrogen is this, and it forms some kind of hydrogen bonding here, and its hydrogen is here, and it forms some kind of hydrogen bonding here. Okay, right, so this is the hydrogens of this oxygen, and these are the hydrogens of this oxygen, and this is the right. So like this the structure of ice, and it is a very complicated three-dimensional structure. Okay, so you see that central oxygen is surrounded with the 4 oxygen atoms with 2 hydrogen bondings. Okay, here you see this oxygen connected with 2 hydrogens with the 2 hydrogen bonds, and with the 2 permanent hydrogen, the 2 permanent hydrogens. Okay, so hydrogen bonding gives ice a rather open type structure, that means you see here, because of these hydrogen bondings, here it developing some kind of caves, some kind of gaps here. Okay, so this you call it as a open type structure, and because of these gaps in the molecules, so that you call it as a wide holes, right? Hydrogen bonding gives the ice a rather open type structure with the wide holes, and these holes can hold some other molecules of appropriate size interstitially. So in the last lecture only we have discussed the hydrogen takes the interstitial position of the metals. Very similar to that, here is also that similar size molecules will come and hold in the interstitial of the ice, okay, right. So that the structure of the ice is over. Next we can go to the chemical properties of water. And you know that amphoteric nature, generally these things we learned in the chemical equilibrium only. Generally the water has a amphoteric nature. Amphoteric means it behaves like an acid as well as the base. Okay, so when it is reacted with the ammonia, it behaves like an acid, and when it is reacted with the H2S, it behaves like a base. Yeah, see this example. Here the same water behaves like an acid when it is combined with the ammonia. Okay, and same water when it is reacted with the H2S, it behaves like a base. So that you can call it as a water has a amphoteric in nature. Okay, and next, autoprotolysis. Protolysis means self ionization of water. This is also we learned in the chemical equilibrium. Generally, because of this amphoteric nature, one water molecule donates the proton and one water molecule takes that proton. That you call it as a autoprotolysis or self ionization of water. Okay, next thing is that water can be easily reduced to dihydrogen by some highly electropositive metals, like generally first year group of elements and second year group of elements. When it is reacted with the water, they liberates the hydrogen gas. In the last lecture only we have discussed this. Okay, next is in the photosynthesis. You know the very well what is the photosynthesis. Generally the carbon dioxide and water react together in presence of the chlorophyll and convert into a glucose and oxygen, but the liberated oxygen will come from the water, not from the carbon dioxide. Okay, this is all about the photosynthesis reaction. Okay, the next one is that when it is reacted with the fluorine, it also oxidizes to the oxygen. So when it is reacted with the fluorine, the water oxidizes and gives the oxygen. You know that what is the oxidation and what is the reduction. Okay, you learned in the stoichiometry lessons. Okay, next, hydrolysis reactions. Okay, generally because of the high dielectric constant of the water, it will hydrolyze some of the compounds. Okay, so that when the compound dissolves into the water, that water can hydrolyze those compounds. Like take an example of the phosphorus oxides. Okay, when it dissolves into the water, that can be hydrolyzed and give some kind of acids, H3PO4, like a silicon tetrachloride. It gives the silica, SiO2, and azide ion on reaction with the water, it gives the ammonia. These kind of hydrolysis reactions. Okay, and next one is the hydrates formation. Hydrates. Okay, hydrates. From aqueous solution, many salts can be crystallized as a hydrated salts. Okay, and in the solution lesson only I told you, one is a dissolution, another one is a crystallization. Dissolution is nothing but when you dissolve a solid, sodium chloride. Suppose you are taking that sodium chloride and mixing in the water. So what will happen? That sodium chloride will dissolve. That is nothing but the dissolution. Then what about the crystallization? Crystallization is nothing but already dissolved salts will come out in the form of a crystal. సో కరిగి ఉన్న అయాన్స్ ఏవైతే ఉంటాయో అవి కంబైన్ అయ్యి బయటికి వస్తాయి అన్నమాట క్రిస్టల్స్ ఫామ్లో. ఓకే, దట్ ఈస్ నథింగ్ బట్ ద క్రిస్టలైజేషన్. ఓకే, సో సమ్ కాంపౌండ్స్ when they are reacted with the water, they form some kind of hydrates crystals. ఓకే, సో వాటర్తో రియాక్ట్ జరగక ముందుకు అవి హైడ్రలైజ్ అయ్యి ఆల్రెడీ సాల్యుబుల్ అయి ఉంటాయి దాంట్లో. కానీ ఎప్పుడైతే అవి వాటర్తో రియాక్షన్ జరుపుతాయో స్లోగా అవి క్రిస్టల్స్ ఫామ్ చేస్తాయి అన్నమాట. ఓకే, దట్ ఈస్ నథింగ్ బట్ ద హైడ్రేట్స్ ఫార్మేషన్. హియర్ ద బెస్ట్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఈస్ దట్ హెక్సా ఆక్వాక్రోమియం. సో ఇది జనరల్గా క్రోమిన్ ఏదైతే ఉందో ఈ వెన్ ద క్రోమిన్ రియాక్టెడ్ విత్ ద వాటర్ ఇట్ ఫార్మ్ సమ్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ కాంప్లెక్స్ అండ్ దట్ కాంప్లెక్స్ కమ్ అవుట్ యాజ్ a crystal, come out as a crystal. Okay, and in some cases what will happen, this water can also be takes the position of the interstitial like barium chloride 2H2O. Okay, so in this the two water molecule takes the interstitial positions of the water, and in some cases the H2O can also involve in the hydrogen bonding. Okay, the example is here. Here the structure in this one water molecule is involving in the hydrogen bonding. Okay, so these are the some chemical properties of water. Okay.